Okay, trying something a little new this time. I'm so amped on this video. I want to be able to walk around and how's this autofocus? It's not bad. All right. Hopefully this mic. Oh, the autofocus is. Oh, there it goes. Okay, good. So today's video is all about learning how Ford will do the pre-ordering process and how that retains to you, your number, your order, and when you'll get your Lightning, if you'll get your Lightning anytime soon. Stick around. I feel like the worst stand-up comedian in the world. Hey. My wife is upstairs and she could probably hear me and just will never talk to me or look at me the same way ever again. Why did I ever find YouTube? Okay, so welcome back. Today is, again, all about how you can interpret your place in line and some strategies you can use to know if you're going to get your car this year, hopefully. I know that's a really hard thing to hope for. It's probably, not going to happen for a lot of us. So the main research I did, and I've been watching videos all day and reading blogs, you name it, to find out the best interpretation, we'll say, of how they might do it. Because obviously I'm not associated with Ford. This is just a very, very educated guess. And the bulk of my research was done watching how they did the Bronco. And now if you're not familiar, the Bronco is another Ford car that came out just this last year, within the last year, and just so popular. Probably as much anticipation as there is for the Lightning, if not more for that car. There's so many reservations. I think the video I watched was well before the car even came out, and they were already up to 160K reservations. So just as popular, I'd say, as the Lightning. And they broke down the exact process. So I'm going to translate that to the Lightning and what I think will happen. Now, if you don't want to watch this whole video, I can sum it up in 3 things. So I'm going to do that real quick in case, you don't want to listen to me ramble for a while, because I got a bunch of notes on, I don't know if you could see that, but just the scribblings of a madman. So I'm going to get into the nitty gritty here. But if you want to just know the 3 main things, it's pretty easy, and you might even already know these, but the first thing is, of course, the reservation, the timestamp, your number, it does play a factor. And now it's important to know that it's not the main thing. That's far from the main thing, but it does play a factor of you getting your car faster. So that's the first thing to think about. The second is the options that you choose. So remember that Ford has I'll get to this, but they're only making 15K Lightnings this year. So obviously, they're not going to make them all pros. They're not going to make them all at the Lariat level. They're going to be spread out. So that's a big part of it. And more than 6,000 people order a pro, and you're that 6,000th person. Yeah, you have a good spot in line. But if you want the pro, they're only going to make a certain amount. So keep that in mind. Is it a popular option? Is an easier way to think of that. And then finally, it's your dealer. And that's probably the most important thing from what I've learned is, right now, you need to call around, make sure you have a dealer who's going to handle this really, really, really well. Call them, see if they have a process already, if they're going to tell you theirs. So really do your research on your dealer. That's the number one thing from what I've learned is make sure you trust them and know that they're going to do everything they can to help you get your car soon and at the price that you should pay. So those are the 3 things, and now I'm going to get into the weeds with it. Now, the first thing that triggered me even making this whole video is the fact that they're only making 15,000 cars this year. And that was coming off of an article that they just doubled their production of it in the scope of the next 4 or 5 years. So I think and again, I'll of course add the blog in the description if you want to read more, but it was about how Ford is planning on doubling. At least in 2024, they had scheduled to make only 40,000 cars that year, and they've just upped that to 80,000 of the Lightning. And even that seems small. I was hoping that's how many they would make this year. We all would hope that much, right? But that's just not the case. And what can we do? So let's work backwards here from those 3 things and talk about dealers. I basically already said it. What I'm recommending to you, this is what I'm going to do, is call your dealer, find out who the Lightning specialist is there, and talk to them. Just have a good chat. If you have a family plan or the X plan or one of those, see if they plan on accepting it. See if they know any of that right now. If they're not, find someone who is. If you want to have all that stuff planned for when you get called into the dealer. And that's the next step. So right here is like what's going to happen, right? So based on your reservation number, you will be invited by your dealer to come build it. And now you need to be ready to go to your dealer right away. Because then you can, let me back up. So your reservation number, yes, it plays into it, but that's just a reservation to make an order, if that makes sense. So you are reserving a spot to then order your car. So your reservation number, if you don't go in and make that order, you're never going to be processed and you're never going to get your car in time. So you can get beat out by someone who has a later number and picks the same trim as you. And like if that was as much as they're going to do, that could definitely happen. So basically you really want to make sure that you know your dealer, you know that it's going to be a great experience with them. Like obviously you can't predict some things, but you can have a good chat with them and vibe them out or whatever, call around. Even if you have to travel like to a different part of the state, I think it's worth it for this. I'm in Michigan, so I actually plan on moving my order to a Detroit location where I know they're going to do things a little better, based on a couple buddies' recommendations. And I think, it's important. So I'm going to start calling around there to find a really good Detroit Ford dealer who's going to set a great reputation and hopefully get me in my car faster. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense so far. So you have your reservation. That then determines when the dealer calls you in to make that order, and then that order gets processed. And then that is a big factor because then you choose your trim and everything there. And this is where, no one can really predict things, right? So you have two options here. One, you can follow, you can probably ask your dealers of like, hey, what's been popular? Do you think this is going to sell out? Like they might have some sort of insight, but again, no one will probably really know. Maybe if you're lucky, there'll be some YouTube videos on it. I'm hoping there will be. And you can kind of tactically order what you think there's going to be stock of. Or you can build your dream car and just hope that it comes in time, which a sane person who doesn't mind waiting would probably do that. Again, I'm probably not that sane person, though. And then another scary thing I learned is like, even if you have that dealer and it's like a great place, their process might vary. Like you just don't know because a big difference, like especially if you're coming from Tesla. Here's a good example. Tesla can sell right to people, right? You can go to their website and order a Tesla to a person and it doesn't really have to touch a dealer. However, Ford has to sell to a dealer who sells it to you. Oh, that's such a twisted way to do things nowadays. Like direct to consumer is just saves so many headaches. And then a salesperson can assist and work for the main company. And I know it's just to keep dealers around because look at like things like Carvana and stuff. Like, of course people don't want to deal with a dealer. And it's like just Ford honoring the dealers who've made them money. This is a whole other rant, but like it's Ford honoring the dealers who are making them money or have made them the money thus far, right? So they don't want to then go over the dealer's head and start selling to people, and then they lose this trusted relationship they've had with their dealers who've made them the money in the past. Eventually, they're going to have to cut it out it's just bound to happen. If you watch my other like mountain bike stuff, the same thing's there. That's why you buy it from your bike shop. It's the exact same thing where like brands like Canyon, you can get that mountain bike direct to you don't have to go through your bike shop. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you don't watch my bike videos, then you're probably like, what the hell is Canyon and what the hell is Trek or whatever. But that's a whole nother story. You can yell at me in the comments or something. Okay, that was a bit of a tangent. So let's back up. Again, I'm going to keep like recapping like what the process is, right? So you have your number right now. Dealer calls you in. You make the order with them. Now there's a bit of a window there. I said get in there fast, and that's just my hunch that you should get in there fast because technically there is like a window, right? At least there was for the Bronco, a cutoff date that you have to go to your dealer by and make your order. So that is a point where they hit that cutoff date, and Ford actually has this like big algorithm they'll run at that date. So, technically there's a chance that if you come in late, they'll just use your reservation number and not when it was converted to order. But I would guess when you made that order is going to have a lot to do with it too. So So basically, that computer algorithm measures those three things I said, right? It'll do the reservation time, and order type, so that your trim level and all your extras you want, and then see if you are going to, what did I write here? Getate, to determine if you, we may never know. Oh, get order. Determine if you get your order. Okay, so that's a lot, right? Now let's look at some other factors, right? The Mach-E. The Mach-E had quite a bit of people who converted from their order and didn't end up buying another car. So like from their reservation, they still ended up buying the Mach-E. I don't know that exact rate. That's the one thing I couldn't find. However, I did look at Tesla's conversion rate, and theirs is about all right, so Tesla reports that it's 12% that don't buy, but then third-party sources say it's closer to like 23 to 25%. So let's safely say like 20%. So that's still an estimated like probably 60% to 80% of these orders will actually go through. Now, personally, I think that the cancellation rate, we'll call it, of the F-150 is going to be the least canceled of any of the other trucks, and that's because it's going to be available first. Now, the fact that there's such a limited amount might hinder what I just said, but bear with me here, right? So if you were, let's say you're like me and you have both the Tesla Cybertruck and the F-150 reserved right now. Personally, I would rather have the Cybertruck just because it's sick. I love the F-150 though, don't get me wrong. But I was steering more towards the F-150, and that's because I thought I would get it faster. So therefore, I might not convert on my Cybertruck sale. Now, the flip of that won't happen, right? Because we know for a fact that the Cybertruck won't exist yet when you might have a chance to get an F-150. So the flip of that just can't happen unless you decide to like wait, right? But like there's no tangible car you can get. And then the Rivian is just a whole other beast that I don't know much about, other than if you have your reservation there, you're going to get a pretty sick looking car. So that being said, I've landed at the fact that maybe between 30 and 40% will end up not getting their F-150. So consider that. And then still realize how many people are. And here's how I'm going to end this video. If you aren't within that, let's say to be safe, 50,000 people, that first 50,000 people, I don't think you have a chance of getting an F-150 in 2002. It sucks, I know. But that's why we might get a Model Y instead. Am I right? That's my next video. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see ya. Bye.